If you have your Bibles with you, you can join me here, but I'd like to read this to you. We can choose our dreams. We can choose between life or death. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 11, this says, "This command I give you today is not too hard for you. It is not beyond what you can do. It is not up in heaven. You do not have to ask. Who will go up to heaven and get it for us so we can obey it and keep it? It is not on the other side of the sea. You do not have to ask. Who will go across the sea and get it? Who will tell to us so we can keep it? No, the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and is in your heart so you may obey it. Look, today I offer you life and success, death and destruction. I command you today to love the Lord your God, to do what He wants you to do, and to keep His commands, His rules, and His laws. Then you will live and grow in number. But if you turn away from the Lord and do not obey Him, if you are led to bow and serve other gods, I tell you today, you will surely be destroyed." Verse 19 says, "Today I ask heaven and earth to be witnesses. I am offering you life or death, blessings or curses. Now choose life. Now choose life. Then you and your children may live." Verse 20, "To choose life is to love the Lord your God, obey Him, and stay close to Him. He is your life." He is your life. Unfortunately, I grew up not knowing that. I could choose life. And I grew up choosing a different kind of God. I grew up wanting to follow a different God. I grew up wanting to follow money. Yung po pangarap ko, kumita ng limpak-limpak na salapi. Sa Bisaya, tapo. Tama ba yun? Daghan. Kwarta. Ayan. Daghan kwarta. Yan ang hinahabol ko. I wanted to be, ngayon na nga, billionaire. Before, I just wanted to be a millionaire. Ano yung ba yung kantang yun? I wanna be a
millionaire.
Hindi ko nasasabihin malinis kasi medyo nasa simbahan tayo. Pero, parang pwedeng kanta. And I remember in high school, how many of you are in high school here? Can you raise your hands? High school, mga high school. Dami pala. Okay. Alam mo kayo, mga nasa high school, I was also in high school once, mga 5 years ago. 6 years, so sige. Pero I was once in high school, and I remember in high school, I was dreaming about becoming a millionaire. I had classmates who were very wealthy. And one day, I went to my classmate, ang laki-laki ng bahay niya. Tinanong ko dun sa kaklase ko, anong trabaho ng tatay mo? Bakit ang laki ng bahay niyo? And she said, and I'll never forget, diplomat siya. Diplomat. Sabi ko, sige. Paglaki ko, when I grew up, I want to be a diplomat also. Later on, I found out that family, the father of that wealthy classmate of mine was a crony of Marcos. So, siguro, may pork barrel na rin siya during that time, no? And I grew up wanting to be that. So when I went to college, I remember coming up with a plan that I would take up law. And after taking up law, because he said most of the diplomats are lawyers, so I would take up law. And I would be, my plan also was to be a crony of a president. Okay? So I would be in his, what they call the kitchen cabinet. So yun pong balak ng simple kong utak. But in the year 1983, I was a freshman, and I remember 1983, marami sa iyo hindi pa pinapanganak, no? Pero in 1983, what happened? What historic event happened in 1983? Who was assassinated?
Ninoy
Aquino was assassinated. And my visions of becoming a lawyer was destroyed because I thought, who wants to be a lawyer in this country, diba? With that kind of legal system? And I remember changing my dreams. I said, I became very idealistic. I was enrolled in a school whose motto was to be a man for others. And so I said, instead of becoming a lawyer, I will become a doctor. So I transferred, I shifted courses, went to pre-med. But I was very confused. I really didn't know what to do with my life. I kept on shifting courses. And remember, para lang makiisip ako, I remember joining an student exchange program and going on this exchange program on a cruise ship. And I remember thinking about my life, what I really wanted to do. And I didn't know what to do. I was in the dormitory in this, dun sa Loyola Heights. And I remember, at that time, God was already pursuing me. God was already pursuing me. I don't know if He is pursuing you. I know He is in some way or another. But God was already pursuing me as a student. How? I remember in the dormitory, there was this classmate of mine. He would always invite me every Wednesday afternoon. Kasi mayroong prayer meeting sa gabi. And he would knock on the door of my dorm room and he would tell me, RD, sama ka mamaya kasi mayroong prayer meeting. And siguro 5, 6, 7, 8 times, I would always refuse him. Saka na lang, Jourdan, saka na lang. And I remember siguro it was his 9th or 10th time to invite me. Medyo nasa na siya, sabi niya, RD, you know what? You cannot keep on running away from Jesus. And I don't know where this came from, but my reply was, Jourdan, maybe, but I will keep on running away from God as long as I can because I'm having too much fun. Because I thought that once I became a Christian or a godly person, hindi na masaya ang buhay. Akala ko, once I followed the Lord, lahat ng mga ginagawa kong kasarapan sa buhay, mawawala. And that was the lie of the enemy. So I kept on running away. And I remember even one scene in summer, sumama na ako sa kanya sa kapulitan niya. I went to a retreat. How many of you have been to a retreat? And you know what I did? After the retreat, I went back to my dorm room. And you know what I was doing? I saw this book on the bed of my dorm mate, my roommate, and it was a pornographic novel. Right after the retreat, ang ginagawa ko, nagbasa. Walang talag sa akin yung retreat. Pero something pierced my consciousness, my conscience. And I felt God just knocking at the door of my heart. And I got disturbed. I put down the book. And I said, if that's you, God, give me a sign and I will go to that prayer meeting again tonight. In less than a minute, maniwala kayo, may kumutok na naman. Ibang klase ko. I opened the door and I looked at him. This Chinese freshman, clean cut. Pumada niya kasing kapal ng sandwich. Tanchotik, 3 flowers, patong-patong. Clean cut. And he always wore this name badge on his chest. And ano mo pangalan niya? Ng taong yon, ng estudyante niyon. Pangalan niya, Jesus ko. So binuksan ko yung pinto, nakita ko siya, yung pumada niya, nakita ko yung Jesus ko. O sige na, Lord, alam ko na, yun ang sign. Pumunta na ako. And I knew that God was pursuing me. Pero alam mo, hindi pa rin ako nagkapakumbaba. I knew that God was pursuing me, but I decided to just go on my own, quote-unquote, happy way. Fast forward, I decided to, after graduation, I worked for a media company. I worked as an editorial assistant and assistant editor of a magazine. And you know that in the magazines, or writers, as a writer, you're not paid that much. And I remember accepting a sideline of yung aming editor. Niyaya ako mag-sideline. Okay? Familiar naman kayo sa sideline, di ba? Para kumita ng extra. So aside the job, you accept another job to earn extra money. Okay? And that sideline turned out to be to help produce a magazine that was pornographic. Okay? I was involved in this, there was a businessman who was opening and who had owned a chain of nightclubs. Okay? And balak niya dun sa mga chain of nightclubs, i-feature niya po sa isang magazine yung kanyang mga starlets or talents. And my job, and my editor's job, was to put them together, was to choose the starlets. So we would go to all of the nightclubs And as they paraded down, in a state of undress, in nakedness, we would choose them. So for maybe a person or a boy, that was an ideal job. Akala ko, napaka-blessed ko. But you know, it brought me into a world of darkness, and I got really steeped into that worldliness. And I thought that, wow, I'm here, I'm making it. And I remember even you'd go to a photo shoot, you know, and my rationalization was this was art.
Art's sake.
This was art. And then when I told a good friend about it, you know, she kind of rebuked me. She said, you know what? All these women you're featuring, that is a daughter of someone's father. So tinamaan ako doon.
Correct.
But my heart was really hardened, and we kept on going. God continued to pursue me. I remember after leaving that kind of environment, a job, I worked for a management magazine, and I was now a manager and earning better money, not as a writer anymore. And I remember going to the mall in Makati, and God was pursuing me again because there was this group of people. I saw that they were distributing these booklets. At that time, I didn't know that it was called a tract or gospel tract. So nakita ko na siya, I knew it was someone who had become a Christian because it was this famous singer from the group Side A who had just quit the band to do that, I think. That was my assumption. So umiiwas ako sa kanila kung magla-lunch ako kung saan sila malayo. But one day after having lunch in a pancake house, I remember going out, pagbukas ko ng pinto, nandun siya. Tapos inabutan ako ng gospel tract. And he told me, "Hi, I'm a Christian." Nakamayan niya ako. Pero ang response ko sa kanya, "Hi, I'm busy." Takbo na naman ako. God kept on pursuing me. And you know what? God won't give up on you. Amen? If you are someone who is continually running away from God like I was, I promise you, God will continue to pursue you. He loves you so much. And He wants to have a relationship with you. That's what I discovered. That is God's dream. You know that God's dream is to have you, a prodigal child. He wants to embrace you, hold you close. He wants to be intimate with you. He wants to have a relationship with you. But I didn't know this. I believed the lies of the evil one. That God was a KJ. That God was a disciplinarian. That if I went close to God, all He would do was punish me. Because I was sinful. But that wasn't the case. But I didn't know that. Finally, one day, I came across this book called Thy Neighbor's Wife, and it was a story about Hugh Hefner. I don't know if you know Hugh Hefner, but Hugh Hefner is the publisher of PLAYBOY, okay, a men's magazine. It's very popular in the US internationally. They have these PLAYBOY clubs. And as I read the book, alam mo, naging pangarap ko, maging Hugh Hefner ng Pilipinas. Ganun ang utak ko. Ganun ang takbo ng utak ko. So I said, if I'm going to become rich, I might as well become rich doing something that I thought was very pleasurable. That you know, I wanted so much to be loved. I wanted so much to be affirmed by the world that I thought by being the Hugh Hefner of the Philippines, the world would appreciate, the world would love me back, the world would say, "Wow, look at that. You know, Playboy ng Pilipinas. Yan ang gusto kong maging." And I went as far as when I went on a business trip to the US, I went to this publishing course in Stanford University. And I saw Hugh Hefner speaking in a television show. I thought that was a sign that I should become Hugh Hefner. So, ang bala ko noon, kukunin yung, di ba, gusto yung mga franchise ng mga Cosmo, franchise ng Good Housekeeping, mga magazine. So that was my plan, to get the franchise of Playboy Philippines. But before I could do that, the Lord, in all of His goodness and grace, intervened. I resigned from my job as a manager in that company in the publishing company. And my partner and I teamed up to create some businesses. So we put up some businesses. I had a business in Manila, and I had a business in the province in Cagayan de Oro City. And to promote that store, that retail shop that we had, ang naisip po namin ay mag-produce ng concert. And sabi namin, sino kayang concert artist ang imbitahin natin? And we were thinking, we were brainstorming, so we thought about Lea Salong, at that time, Eraserheads. And then somehow we settled on this concert artist. I don't know if you know him. His name is Gary Valenciano. Kilala niyo ba siya?
Hindi masyado.
Oh, shame. Because we chose Gary Valenciano because we heard that 3 years before our planned concert, nagka-stampede. Ang dami tao. So we're thinking, isip namin, kikita tong concert na to. And to make a long story short, we got partners, we got investors, but alam mo yung Murphy's Law? Murphy's Law says that if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. And in our concert production, everything went wrong. So me and my partners, we have the distinction of being the most successful failures of a Gary V concert. And we failed because we realized that we were greedy. Instead of doing just one night, nag 2 nights po kami. We deceived some investors about the real cost of the production so that we could make more money. So it was really, really, anointed with evil. If there's such a thing. Talagang walang anointing ni God. But the thing that was anointed was the concert itself. Gary V is such an anointed singer. And even if pagpasok ko sa Coliseum, that could fit maybe about 7,000 people, pagpasok ko, my heart just broke. Because and I was crying because I saw that my life savings was going down the drain. Nakita ko, gamay lang yung tao. Parang, it didn't look like a concert. It looked like a rehearsal. Ganun ka-konting yung tao. Kasi nangyari pala sa probinsya, pag hindi ka nag-promote the day before, hindi maniniwala yung tao na nandun yung concert artist at that time. Kasi doon sa Cagayan de Oro, marami na palang naloko. Marami mga concert producer na fly-by night, they say that Sharon Cuneta would come, Lea Salong would come, they sell tickets, pero pagdating ng concert day, wala. So bibili na yung tao, pag nag-parade, pag what do you call that?
Motorcade. Motorcade.
Motorcade. Eh kaya lang the day before, gumagyo, umulan. So na-cancel yung motorcade. So yung hinihintay ko na dagsangan ng tao, na wala. So on the day itself, walang masyadong tao. Halos kalahati lang. But as I was listening, sister, to Gary Valenciano sing that song, meron siyang popular song. I don't know if you're familiar with that. And as he sang that song, the lyrics were just ministered to me. Okay? And although I am not a singer, I'd like to sing or speak this song to you because I want you to be blessed by the lyrics as well, okay? So if you want, I don't know if we have the lyrics, wala siguro, but let us, I just want to share with you the lyrics of the song, and the song is called Take Me Out of the Dark. Ano nyo pala di sing along tayo.